Hello and welcome back everyone, we Weeb online, and today I'm gonna continue the story What If Naruto Was Captured by the Leaf Part 2. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up and watch more videos like this, subscribe to my channel and turn that bell notification on so you never miss an upload. Now wasting no more time, let's begin.
They waited at the clothing store for more than an hour before someone called them into the back. A man with a heavy limp pulled their attention to the uniforms they were both carrying. He was rough with them, but not mean. "So you two are Ito's students, the ones he was bringing over for new uniforms?" She replied, "I'm not sure. We only called our teachers, sir. I talked to him last night." Pinky and Whiskers were the pair he talked about. "That's you too. Did he tell you anything else passed to show up here?" "No, sir," Naruto said. The shopkeeper said, "That means he stumbled into something he shouldn't have. Okay, you two listen up. There is a lot going on in Konoha and somehow the pair of you are now in the middle of it and deeply involved in something you're not ready for." He pointed at a label on one of the clothes. "See this? It is a chakra restriction seal. Every one of your uniforms has one in the pants and shirt. Where did you get these clothes?" After stuttering, "From the quartermaster." Naruto looked shocked and then shut up. The shopkeeper glared at the boy for giving such bad information, but Sakura answered, "Our first teacher at the remedial classes sent us there for uniforms. We didn't think anything of it because we didn't have any other clothes that would have worked." The shopkeeper smiled. "That makes sense. Someone was trying to set both of you up so you could not make it back into the elite program. Then you could just disappear when you were out of sight. Anbu looked for that conduit for years and never stumbled onto it." "Sir, are we in trouble?" Naruto asked with worry. "You two specifically?" "No, not yet. You're definitely in danger but not in trouble. And knock it off with the dang, sirs. You need to call me something. Call me Hero. I am an old friend of your instructor." As Hero walked to the front, the doorbell rang. He motioned for everyone to be quiet. Naruto could just barely make out a conversation, but he didn't want to get closer to find out what it was. After a few minutes, Hiro came back into the room with a woman with purple hair. "This is another old friend of mine, kids. She works here part-time. Her name is Yugo. Pinky, go with her for a few minutes. Since you are here, I'll get you set up with a few new outfits. The ones you have are really worn out and fit you like a tent. It was a good thing Ito suggested you come here instead of the quartermaster this time. Yugo offered to help Pinky because I hate helping Kunoichi find clothes." After Yugo glared at Hiro, Sakura followed Yugo out to the main part of the store, even though she looked lost. Hiro then turned to Naruto and spoke lowly. "When you next get a Hokage-sized ramen delivered, tell your friend that Blue Aardvark says hello and is waiting for the word with all of his friends. Now, this is not something Pinky needs to hear, understand?" The change in the man in front of Naruto scared him, so he slowly nodded. "Good, I have some idea of what is going on. Don't ask me how or why. Just listen. Root is very interested in you. They are not your friends. They are planning something big in the next few months and you have become a part of their plans. Yugo tells me my friend Ito is in the hospital right now and he may die. He found something out and now those bastards are going to pay for hurting him. You have kept a lot of things quiet up until now, but in the next few weeks you will be forced to pick a side. Make sure it is the right one." Naruto could only slowly nod as his fear grew. After a short time, the man in front of him calmed down and asked, "So, what size pants are you going to need? You look like you have a 30 inches inseam." "I'm a 29, Naruto said, not sure what to say. "Meh, go with the 30, you'll be hitting a growth spurt eventually," he said. "Geez. Stop looking so scared. I am serious about what I said, but you need to remember, real ninja work is not done by the elite. It was done by people like me. The elites are good, but we are the best." "We?" "Yeah, Ito never talks about it because he didn't make the cut, but elite isn't the best. Anbu is. You become Anbu only after earning it from your peers. Once you become Anbu, you're Anbu for life." Hiro smiled as Naruto slowly nodded and tried on the clothes the shopkeeper brought him. "I wish I could tell you, boy. Only one other Uzumaki ever lived in this village. She was one of the best of us. I owe her more than I can ever repay. Sakura and Yugo went out to the main floor of the shop. The older Kunoichi held up different pants and shirts against her and told her to calm down. He'll be fine with Hiro. You're keeping an eye on him for the Hokage. She looked at Yugo and asked, what do you mean? It smiled and said, meow. It took Sakura a moment to figure it out, and then she said, yes, I saw that trick your teacher did with the uniforms yesterday. Someone almost killed me before I could kill him for it, Yugo said as she held up a different dark shirt against Sakura. This one should fit you better than those other rags of yours. Go put it on. Sakura was about to lose it. How can you talk about killing someone and be so calm about it? She asked quietly. He looked and said, we're ninjas. That's what we do. These pants should work for you. Elites are the ones who put on a show and have flashy jutsu. They kill sometimes, but not often. We are more of a secret strike force than elites make us look. PR is one thing, but you didn't really believe the killing classes were just for show, did you? Sakura said. Well, no, but you make it sound like you were buying groceries or something. Not really, but the day it becomes like going to the store to buy groceries is the day you should quit and leave, Yugo said softly. Anyway, you did a good job with Naruto in that classroom. You could go very far if you wanted to. Is that the first time you've ever seen a boy react that way? As Sakura dressed, she said, yes. At first, it scared me, but after a while, I felt okay about it. It was a reaction that no one else had ever seen. Just so you know, a lot of us girls are wondering if the Uchiha is gay or not. I want to see how that looks on you, Yugo said to Sakura. Shirt looks good. Not too loose, but just right to hide some things. Not too tight but just right for showing off your shape. In a few more years, people might think you are a professional like us. Sakura looked at Yugo with doubt and said, you sound like I'm one of you. I'm not even a real genin yet. As far as being officially one of us, you're not a genin yet, but if you get the right experience, you might be one day. You have to pick, though. Soon, something will happen. When your teacher found those files, it caused more trouble than he thought. They know we're watching them. People will have to choose whether they support Root and Danzo's plan to turn Konoha into a war machine or the Hokage. He then said, you need to wait here while I talk to Naruto. The ninja in the ICU had multiple stab wounds on his back and chest. I need to know what happened for sure. Kat tells me he found something in the files, but she couldn't tell me exactly what. The whole drawer was covered in blood. Something about the most recent washbacks. He sighed and looked over to a second ninja who was in a similar state. This one I didn't even suspect was Root. This means they have infiltrated the training system as well. Danzo could have hundreds of ninja en route by now and none of us would know. Get back here quickly. I need that information. How could I have forgotten to ask Naruto who contacted him? Danzo-sama, we have a problem, the agent claimed. What is it? The man with the limp replied in a rough voice. One of our guy in elite remedial training is hurt and needs to go to the hospital. They have blocked off the area, so we don't know why. 2 people were taken to the hospital with wounds that could kill them. It happened in the records room. A lot of blood was seen to have been spilled. He said in a low voice, get people as close to it as you can. I need to know what happened. He walked into the back of the shop and said, wow, Hiro, you make him look like a chunin without the vest. Naruto, the Hokage wants to know why your current teacher is in the training center's records room. Is that the same person who called you about doing that job for Root? What are you talking about? Naruto asked, looking over at him. What job? It was getting annoying for Yugo. First she had to help a kunoichi find nice clothes, and now the kid who could give her information for the Hokage was acting silly. She grabbed Naruto by the shirt and pushed him hard against the wall. With one hand, she reached into her fanny pack and pulled out her cat mask. She held it over her face for a moment before saying, the Hokage sent me to get some information from you, Uzumaki. Once a week, he comes to see you with a shadow clone to see if anyone has called. You should go to Ichiraku's ramen and order a Hokage-sized ramen to go. He will get it to you as soon as possible if something starts to go wrong. Boy, I don't have time to play word games with you. Please answer my questions. Who called you to ask you to do the work for Root? My teacher did. Hiro walked in and said, Ito could not have been your contact. No, the first guy who called me was the one. I had no idea what his name was. Naruto said in a weak voice. He never told us. Ito talked to me last night. He talked about some of his thoughts and a theory about what he knew. Yugo, we talked for 3 hours last night. Tell the angry woman, it will take me a while to tell you everything. Give Naruto to the Hokage and let him start with what he knows while I go to the tower. It will take me almost an hour to get there with this bad leg. Root will know something is wrong if they see me being carried there. Okay. Have the kid that the Hokage said he would send to the legions brought out in public to see him. Are you really crazy? I yelled, Yugo. He smiled and said, I've been called worse. You just said that he kind of looks like a Let's put on a vest and give him a little face paint over his mustache. Instant chunin. That is completely dumb, hero. Yugo said softly. But it just might work right now. He smiled and asked, so all I have to do is tell him everything I know? About the teacher, the seals, and everything else? What did you call those seals again? A voice from behind them said, chakra restriction seals. They turned around with their swords drawn and saw Sakura standing in the doorway. I heard the yelling, and then some things on the wall outside fell down. It's strange that the shop next door hasn't come over to see what's going on, Sakura said. You kids are making me really mad. Please tell the Hokage about this as soon as possible. The Hokage told me that you like working with Naruto. Between us, we might know what you need to know. I was there when the uniforms came. They did the same thing to me. I'm in this whether I want to be or not after yesterday, Sakura begged. I don't have time to argue with you about this. Okay, you're coming too. Take that hair off, and let's go. Ito gave Naruto and Sakura a pair of chunin vests and said, give them back to me when you get back here. Also, take the old uniforms. The Hokage will want to see the seals. I'll go to the tower with what Ito told me. Naruto and Sakura were having trouble putting on their vests and hats while Yugo put on hers. They took the old uniforms and gave each other a nod. Let's go, Kat said. The three people got to the Hokage without any problems. When Sarutobi saw Sakura and Naruto in their masks, he took over an empty hospital room right away to talk about what was going on. Naruto quickly told him about the teacher who came up to him and the uniforms with seals on them. Sakura called back with more details and the name of the person who gave them the uniforms. She believed that pictures could help her remember things sometimes. Kat told him that Hiro was on his way to the tower with more information from the talk he had with Ito the night before. Sarutobi was mad that a teacher who knew important things but couldn't share them was making his plan to catch Root fail. His plan was simple at first, but now an honest teacher trying to help his students was making things impossible to handle. The internal war he was afraid of was moving faster than it was before he came up with this plan. It was getting later and later for him to decide what to do to stop a full-scale civil war. Sir, Sakura spoke up. I know I don't know everything, but the core move of your entire plan was to get Naruto into the hands of this Root group? Yes, that is amazing deduction from hearing so little about this, Sakura. But after tonight they will not likely be going near him. In fact, I think that if they find out he was going to be a plant, they would be after him to keep him quiet, Sarutobi said with a sad tone. So Naruto and anyone else who was working against them would become a target once word of this whole sting operation gets out, Sakura asked with a shy tone. Yes, I need to find a way to hush this up before the truth of this attack gets out, but I need a plausible story. Something that can make the original plan still work. Sarutobi put his chin up to think. What would it take for them to take him? Kat wanted to know. After this mess? He would have to be being hunted down and have no place else to hide, he said. When Naruto felt a chill, he turned back to Sakura and said, Sakura-chan, I don't like that smile on your face. Hokage-sama, what is he being sought for in connection with a murder attempt? Why? Sakura asked. Naruto, Kat, and Sarutobi were all speechless. To be fair, Hokage-sama, you did say in public that you would send us to the legions if we failed. What if our teacher, Ito, told us we failed? He did punish us a lot last week, and he did it in front of the class. The people there know that he held us up after class yesterday. Sakura-chan, what do you mean when you say we? Why? Naruto asked. Say to Naruto, Think about it. Root was also after me because my clothes have seals on them. Have you thought about getting rid of the teachers too? Do you think that one genin could surprise and kill 2 teachers? We could do it if we worked together. One of them was caught off guard in the file room. The other one heard the noise and was also caught off guard. We tried to make it look like they were fighting. Remember how we learned how to do that in class? The bloody clothes we left behind got found, so we need a place to hide. From there, we can figure it out. The Anbu that Hokage-sama trusts should not find us until Root does. He can then put out a call for us to be captured so that we can be questioned about the matter. Kat spoke up and said, "That's a crazy idea. It won't work ever." "Well, it might," Sarutobi said in a low voice. "But you would both have to give up a lot." "I won't let it happen." He spoke up and asked, "Old man, Hokage-sama, do you think Danzo would let me go, knowing that he was almost caught and shown? Not just Sakura-chan, but also I. It would be a habit for us to always look over our shoulders to avoid being stabbed in the back. We need to take a chance now. Get rid of them now, while we still can, or we'll be afraid for the rest of our lives." It made Sarutobi feel bad that he had included these 2 kids in the plan. Now they were making fun of him by acting like real warriors and ninjas when he wanted to keep them safe and protect them. "Kat, could we get blood from both men on the suit that Naruto and Sakura were carrying with them? You could put them somewhere in the village where people live." "What did Sarutobi ask?" Kat replied, "It would be easy to do, Hokage-sama. I need to hear this from all of you before I order it. Please think about the fact that it could endanger your lives." He looked at each teen and said, "You don't have to do this, and I won't think less of either of you." "I will do it, Hokage-sama," Naruto answered right away. "Yes, I will do it too, Hokage-sama," Sakura replied right away. "Okay, I'll set this up. I hope that one day you can both forgive an old man for putting you through this. Kat, get dressed. Choose how to plant it on your own." Kat said, "Yes," and took the uniforms and left. "I had another thing to share with you, old man," Naruto said. "It came from someone I met tonight, but I'm not sure if it was a secret or not. Should I whisper it to you or say it out loud in front of Sakura-chan? Sakura, could you give us a moment alone?" "What did Sarutobi ask?" Sakura gave a nod and left the room. "Old man, the guy named Hiro who got us these clothes asked me to tell you that Blue Aardvark is waiting for the word." Sarutobi gave a thoughtful nod. Blue Aardvark was one of the larger groups of retired and former Anbu that had formed in Konoha. It was a pleasant surprise to learn that they were behind the Hokage in retirement, just as they had been when they were on active duty. "Thank you, Naruto, that does help me. More than you think." They called Sakura back inside and waited for Kat to come back from her mission. "The clothes are already there, Hokage-sama. You should be able to find them in the morning." They were left in the merchant's district, 1 block away from Hiro's shop. Also, Naruto and Sakura will be able to hide their new clothes when Root finds them. Kat pointed at them and said, "Give me those Chunin vests before you leave. I hope this ends with both of you being safe." Kat turned to the Hokage after they left and asked, "Hokage-sama, that question you asked them? It seemed a lot like the 10th question on the written test for the Chunin exams." "I know, Kat," Sarutobi said with a nod. "It was supposed to. Both of them are ready to be Chunin in their minds. We need to meet up with Hiro at the tower now. If either of the men in the ICU wakes up, I will have torture and interrogation take care of them. They need to stay quiet and safe until this plan works. The person might need to die, so that he can't go back to his master." Naruto and Sakura moved in the dark to a more remote part of Konoha. The areas inside the walls where the Kyuubi had destroyed many buildings were mostly empty. Naruto found them a comfortable place to rest in an old house that had been abandoned. He told Sakura-chan, "This is going to be rough," as they tried to sleep. As Naruto asked, "What else can we do?" Sakura asked, "They'll come after us if we don't do it. We have a chance this way. As soon as possible, let's get some rest." Naruto just nodded and laid down on the floor, which was shaking. As dawn broke over Konoha, it was a clear, sunny day. Shouts came from the merchant district when a woman found the bloody clothes. Word spread quickly when the Anbu arrived and took over. By noon, most of the ninja in Konoha had heard. Bring in Uzumaki Naruto and Haruno Sakura to be questioned as witnesses in the attack on 2 instructors. Genin teams with a lot of experience that were studying for the Chunin exams in a few weeks were sent to search the village. The rookies were kept together by their teachers because they had only known the missing students for a few months. Teams 8 and 10 talked about it, but in the end decided they didn't know Sakura and Naruto that well. Shikamaru did nothing but lie there and say, "Troublesome," even though he was working hard on the puzzle. Hinata was worried, but she didn't say anything. A lot of people were searched, but not too hard because they were only wanted for questioning. Those searching thought that Anbu would have been sent to find the 2 if it was really important. The day went by, and no sign of the missing students was found. Sakura's mother was worried, and many regular people said that it was just the Uzumaki boy finally showing his true colors. Retired ninjas stayed quiet while a slow message was sent among a small group of them. He growled, "Find them and bring them to us." Deep under Konoha. I will never be able to get Uzumaki back if they get caught. He will be locked up in a prison that is too small for him. Haruno isn't as important, but she might be useful. That day, Sakura and Naruto planned their story. They chose to use a lot of truth and only a few lies to connect and twist the facts. The teacher kept them after class, which everyone knew about. The next day, he told them they were going to fail and told them to come back in secret that night if they wanted to pass. When they did, he told them he would pass them if Sakura got their grade. He went to the record rooms to write down the failure. Sakura told Naruto that they would be gone if they didn't stop him, so he agreed to the plan. They attacked the teacher, and their first teacher came in because of the noise. They had to attack him and hope that it looked like the 2 got into a fight. Once they were out of the training area, they sneaked into the market at night and stole clothes from the store after the man left for the night on crutches. They then went into hiding. Naruto gave him a nod and made sure he got it. "Sakura-chan, why did you join the elite service?" After they had sat still for a while, Naruto asked. "Well, my dad wasn't a strange ninja. He never did it very well. He made Chunin, but he was only a military ninja. His squad leader saw that he had good control, but not enough chakra to make it through training. He saved his commander one time and died because of it. Even his death took a long time." This made Sakura cry, but Naruto kept quiet until she could go on. "Well, when I was old enough, he came to see me. If I wanted to go to the academy, he would pay for it for me because I was smarter and had more chakra than my dad. He told my dad that he would keep his promise. I took it, then. And fell in love with Sasuke." Naruto got a tongue lash from Sakura. "Well, he was cute and looked like a good boyfriend. I'm not sure anymore. I never felt warm around him. He was very smart, but he thought too highly of himself. Even though I was very close to him, I didn't notice those things about him. He talked badly about my training and called you a loser. It's almost funny now. Because of how hard we've trained, I'm now at least as good as he was before he left the academy. That's not you at all. Now it's my turn to ask personal questions. I know you're an orphan and live by yourself, so how did you get in? Also, why didn't you get kicked out for all those jokes? Why?" she asked. "The old man, Hokage-sama, paid for me to go. I believe he also got a lot of flack for it. Several teachers tried to kick me out on my first day, but he went to see them. Now that I think about it, he was trying to get them to accept me. I never understood why people didn't want to be around me. After that, no one looked at me again. In order to get people's attention, I began pulling pranks." He stopped when he felt his stomach growl. He looked down and tapped his pockets. "I think we forgot to plan to get something to eat," he said. "We might need to leave this place anyway. Root probably wouldn't find us here if we stay here. I might try going back to my place without being seen later." The old man said they saw it. Sakura looked lost and asked, "Where do you live?" Naruto smiled and said, "It's not that far away from here after all. That's how I knew this spot would be empty. It would have been silly for me to go back to my place to hide." "Okay, you're not leaving me behind." "I can't stand to wait any longer," Sakura complained. They didn't go outside until just after dark. Naruto led Sakura windingly to his apartment. She was surprised that it was in such an old, run-down building. There was a genin squad hanging out at the building entrance. Naruto pointed at the police security seals on the windows and waved that they would go to the roof. He climbed up the fire escape to get to the roof, slid open a panel she didn't even notice, and jumped down into the bedroom. After peeking in, Sakura fell down. Naruto was busy putting different pieces of clothing under the bed. She didn't want to know what he was doing, but she was glad he was polite enough to try. He then took out a box of scrolls and put some in his shirt. He gave some to Sakura and whispered, "These are important, we take these too. Wait here while I get some things from the living room and kitchen." Naruto sneaked out, and to her surprise, he walked right down the middle of the hall. She was about to say something about being stealthy when she realized that this was his house and he would know every possible squeaky floorboard. He came back a few minutes later with a bag of food, some bottles, and several weapons pouches strapped to his body. "This should be enough for a few days," he said. "Since we haven't been found yet, I think the old man will send Anbu after us by tomorrow. I think that was the right thing to do. The root man may not have seen us come in, but I saw him in the kitchen. We'll leave the roof and head west, which will take us right past him." She asked with a raised eyebrow, "How did you know they were watching you?" Naruto smiled and said, "Sakura-chan, I always know when someone is watching me, even the Anbu." He helped Sakura get back to the roof and gave her the supplies before getting off. He led her off the roof, jumped to the next building, and almost landed on the root agent watching his apartment. The man didn't move until both teens had a good start, then he followed. Soon after, Kat came out from her hiding place and went to the Hokage Tower in a much more stealthy way. When they got back to their hiding place, they ate the fruit and field rations Naruto had brought. Naruto also gave Sakura some of the weapons he had brought. A quick look inside the pouch showed that they were real weapons, not imitations. Sakura looked at them like they were bugs, but she sighed and took them anyway. "Naruto, how did you get real weapons? Can't we buy these yet?" "Sakura-chan, you'd be shocked at some of the things you can find lying around in the practice fields. For extra cash, I would go around and find lost or broken weapons to sell to blacksmiths. I kept a few for myself. But why do we need them now?" She kept saying it. "Sakuran, we need to look like we have weapons and are not safe. It's said that we attacked 2 teachers. We need weapons for that. At some point, we might also have to fight," he said. After that, there was silence. Sakura fell asleep, and Naruto was just watching the moonlight move across the floor when he heard a voice say, "Uzumaki Naruto, Haruno Sakura, come with me if you want to get out of this situation." He woke Sakura up by shaking her and then whispered, "How do we get out of this? It's not going to happen. Uzumaki, you have nowhere else to go. I have something else to offer you besides what you are facing now. People charged with murder face the death penalty. This afternoon, one of the teachers died," the voice said. "If you betray us too," Sakura said in a whisper, "I'll stab you just like I did them. The flower can kill you." "Okay. That's useful. Now, come down with me. We need to stay away from patrols, and Anbu is about to start their search. No one thought that students would be able to hide so well. Now, follow me," the man in a mask that looked a lot like an Anbu said as the teens slowly opened the door and left the building. "The offer will be taken back if you don't follow through or get people's attention." The masked ninja moved around the village randomly for more than an hour, and Naruto and Sakura followed him. They almost lost him once, but they found him and were told to go down a tunnel that led under the village. The heavy iron cover slid into place with a clank, and the two of them went down into the unknown. The Sandaime Hokage, Sarutobi Hiruzen, was angry. I think he should have been happy that his plan was finally running. His plan was going too well, if anything. In reality, this meeting with the investigators and other people connected to the case was just for show. It could turn against the people he was trying to protect. "All right, we are all here. Inoichi, what has happened with this case?" he said. Yamanaka Inoichi got up and looked around at everyone in the room. "Well, this started out looking like a simple fight between 2 teachers that got out of hand. However, other evidence has been gathered by Anbu to show it is something else entirely. Yesterday morning, a shop owner found some bloody uniforms in her trash. Anbu was called since they handle things of that nature. A routine check of other businesses close by showed that a ninja supply store had been burglarized during the night. Several shelves had been knocked over and the owner thinks some clothing may have been taken. The uniforms had the names of Haruno and Uzumaki sewn into them. The pair was then called in for questioning, but neither could be found. A wider search of the village by multiple genin squads turned up nothing. The apartment of Uzumaki was sealed pending further investigation. The blood on the clothing was analyzed and found to match both men in the attack. The past 12 hours have changed things. The hospital reports that one of the instructors involved has died of his wounds. During the night, the apartment of Uzumaki had been entered in spite of seals on all doors and windows. Multiple items had been removed, including food and weapons. We were unable to trace them once they left the roof. Inuzuka hounds at the scene to track the culprits were rendered useless by sneezing powder. An office worker asked, "Weapons? How did a student get real weapons?" Anbu and Jonin reports show that Uzumaki scavenges used and broken weaponry from training areas he has access to and sells the materials he gathers to local blacksmiths. He has done this for years now. He kept a portion of what he found. Continuing on, officers interviewed members of the class one of the wounded instructors was assigned. Uzumaki and Haruno were members of that class and had been frequently punished for sleeping in class or not paying attention. They had been asked to remain after class the day before the attacks. Class records show they were on the edge of being failed completely. The files of the two also had a consequence for failing the class of being sent to the daimyo's legions. The made people in the briefing room mutter. Anyone who broke the law could be sent to the legions. A person's chakra had to be sealed, and the person had to be branded. A lot of people would kill themselves to avoid going through that painful process. With an angry look on his face, Sarutobi just sat there. Intelligence has come up with the following chain of event based on current evidence. The instructor wanted to see Uzumaki and Haruno likely to inform them that they were failing the class. The pair must have attacked him and wounded him. The noise would have attracted another instructor. This person had been an earlier instructor for the pair, and interviews show he was harsher on the pair than their current one. He was wounded much more heavily. We think they then set things up to look like the instructors had attacked each other and fled. In the merchants' district, they burglarized a clothing shop and threw out the bloody clothing. We have no clue what they did next, as we have been unable to locate them. A jonin in the room laughed and said, "How hard is it to find a pair of students? You must not have been trying very hard." Inoichi looked around. Yesterday we were looking for a pair of students who might have been witnesses to a crime. We did not assume at the time they might have been responsible for it. The evidence of the bloody clothing was not connected to the case until late last night. Different divisions were handling two separate cases. Once they were brought together, the larger case is more sinister. Nara Shikaku said, "Do not forget, this boy is Uzumaki Naruto. He has demonstrated in the past an ability to hide and evade capture that is far beyond his training level. His painting of the Hokage mountain and subsequent chase around Konoha should be noted as such a feat, showing his level of skill. His only true weakness is his lack of discipline and impetuousness." Haruno is a highly intelligent girl whose only reason for being in that class was her lack of physical ability in the academy. If they are working in concert, they would be a formidable team. My son and Inoichi's daughter went to academy with these two. Uzumaki had a large crush on the girl and would be easily swayed if both were desperate. Her intelligence coupled with his skills in the past 6 months of intense military training would make them the equal of most genin teams. Sarutobi said, "I have heard enough. Send word to all ninja in Konoha. I want the pair of them captured and brought in alive." With Uzumaki's condition, his death or the death of the girl could trigger him to release what he contains. This will not be allowed to happen. I trust the Yondaime's seal, but it is also powered by his will. Up until now, he has not been given a reason to release the demon, but I foolishly allowed my anger at him to influence my decisions about him. Bring them both in alive unless you wish for Konoha to die. The meeting was over. Inoichi and Shikaku were told to stay behind by Sarutobi. He spoke to the jonin in low voices. "Thank you for your help in this briefing. At least 2 of Danzo's people were in this meeting. The information you presented would make most sensible people afraid to try to kill either Naruto or Sakura, so that is the best we can do for them for now. Tell Ibiki to get all the men he can trust absolutely. In less than 72 hours, we are going to pull out this offending route. Shibi should have a solid location trace by then." 115-watt bulb was all that lit up the room where they were waiting. While Sakura was nervous in the small space, Naruto sat down and tried to look like he was meditating. They left us alone in here, so how can you just sit there calmly? She finally snapped. Naruto looked at Sakura with one eye open and said, "No, they haven't. We're still on duty." The girl with pink hair looked at him and he raised one eyebrow. It looked like she got it, and she began to calm down. "Sakura-chan, I always know when someone is watching me, even the Anbu." The words came back to her. Right now, they were being tested and watched. They were on duty. "Interesting," said a voice. "They know every bit as much about each other as we thought." "What do you mean, sir?" someone in the dark asked. He was making her feel better. "Did you notice that she became calmer after he talked?" "Danzo-sama, what should we do about it?" "Nothing right now. Give them to Trainer 6, who only has one student right now. They might get along with that one. His training in emotional skills is almost complete, and his skills would make the pair stronger. I don't want to separate them until they are better trained. Keeping them together lowers the risk to their safety. If what they say is true, getting rid of her directly might be a bad idea. Keep them away from the important parts." "Exit the room and follow," the gray-haired teen said, and Sakura and Naruto looked at each other before following. The older teen led them along a winding path until they reached another room, which was tiled and looked like a shower room. When the teen pointed to a table and said, "Remove all of your clothing and put it on the table," Naruto and Sakura just looked at him. When they didn't move, the teen said, "Remove all of your clothing and place it on the table. There must be compliance." Sakura got angry and twitched her eyebrow. "I'm not getting naked in front of you perverts," she said. That teen with gray hair just looked at Sakura and said, "If you don't follow this order, you will be taken out of this facility and given to the Hokage to carry out your death sentence for killing a Konoha ninja. Take off all of your clothes and set them on the table." The gray-haired boy in the hallway stood there in silence, his face expressionless. Sakura's anger subsided as her sense of propriety took over. She looked at Naruto, who was making sure to stare at a spot on the wall just above the door. Inside, she smiled, knowing that he was trying to show her as much respect as possible. She had wished that someone she loved would be the first to see her naked, but that chance was taken away when they agreed to this mission. Her anger returned enough that she didn't try to hide behind her arms, since the older teen hadn't even moved. The teen with gray hair pointed to the showers and said, "Wash yourselves, then come back to this spot." Naruto turned and went to the shower without looking at Sakura, and she did the same. The water was barely warm, and there were only on and off settings. They both finished quickly and stood back where they had started. The older teen had taken everything off the table, leaving only 2 towels, 2 plain jumpsuits, and their sandals. It was annoying how often he said, "You will be taken to your sleeping quarters now." After they dried off and put on their jumpsuits, Naruto leaned close to Sakura. Before he could say anything, the older boy cut him off. Talking about anything other than mission information is not allowed. Naruto narrowed his eyes at the teen with gray hair, but he chose to wait. Instead, he spoke quietly. "I assume you have a list of all these rules somewhere? All root members do as they are commanded to. That is all you need to worry about," he said. "Funny, I don't remember saying I was going to join the roots," Naruto replied in the same low voice as before. "I was given an alternative, and all I've seen so far are flunkies. I need to wait for the rest of the offer." "You followed, and you went into this building. That means you agree with them. If you don't follow that, you could hurt your friend," Naruto said with a growl. "You hurt one hair on Sakura-chan, and I will bring this whole complex down around your ears. That's just a threat. You will also kill Haruno if you do that." Sakura paid close attention to this conversation and took notes. The person with gray hair was totally in charge. He didn't even look like his heart was beating faster. Toho said in a low voice, "Naruto, we need the place to hide for now." After taking a deep breath, Naruto sat down and relaxed. It looks like Haruno also has an effect on Uzumaki. The monitor screen flickered in the dark. Before Haruno spoke to him, "Did you notice that his whole posture had become more wild? If she can help us keep him in check, she might be more useful than we thought at first." "We shall see," Danzo said in response. After an hour of sleep, wake them up but don't tell them how long it's been. After that, they only sleep for 4 hours a day. Naruto and Sakura were led to cells next to the shower room. Each was 10 feet by 6 feet and had a toilet and a sleeping mat. The girl with gray hair led them into their cells, and the doors were locked from the outside. Sakura laid down to rest, even though she didn't really need to sleep yet. The sleeping mat wasn't much thicker than a gym mat. I hope Naruto was able to keep track of where we are. I lost track after we were taken underground. There isn't much light, so I can't even be sure if we went through any side tunnels, she said. Naruto also laid back. He was bothered that the old man hadn't given them a way to get in touch with him. He knew why, because he had been training for 6 months, but he still didn't like it. He thought about what else he could do, but sleep kept coming back to him. The gray-haired boy woke both teens up and told them to follow him to an open area that was still underground. This is where you will train, he said. There is only the mission en route. Right now, your job is to follow the rules. To help you train, I've been given the name, Shin. Someone else will be joining us soon. You will fight with each other until then. When Shin told Naruto and Sakura to stop, they facing each other and making basic sparring moves. That is not sparring, Shin said. You are just working out. When you spar here, you try to hurt your opponent as much as possible. Do you get it? Naruto almost glared at Sakura, but he just said, yes, sir. He then turned around and attacked her with all his strength. He quickly got through her defenses and punched her in the stomach, leaving her gasping for air. Shin spoke in the same dull voice as before. The only way to learn how to defend properly is to fight as hard as you can. They will be useless on a mission and make it fail if they can't defend themselves. We make Konoha stronger by getting rid of the things that don't do anything. Again. And then Naruto took a deep breath and waited. He watched as Sakura got ready again. Why are you taking your time? Shin told them to attack. Naku said, now it's Sakura's turn to attack. I also need to defend myself. There's no time to wait in training. It's a waste of time to not be on mission or training. We don't waste time on things like that at root. Attack. When Naruto attacked again, he broke through Sakura's defenses and threw her to the ground. He thought about what to do again. Shin told them to attack. She is not defeated. Only knocked down. Naruto growled and was about to attack Shin when Sakura swept his legs out from under him, knocking him out for a moment. She then did a somersault and landed both heels on Naruto's chest. He coughed loudly and couldn't breathe for a moment before Sakura hit him again with an elbow just below the sternum. To get her off of him, he swung a backhand into her face, but she rolled with it and quickly got to her feet. When she kicked him in the ribs, Naruto fell to his knees and caught the foot with one arm against his body. He turned his head to look at Sakura. Sakura put her weight on the leg that Naruto was holding and kicked him in the face with her other foot. Naruto let go of her foot as he rolled away, and they both fell to their feet. Naruto looked at his nose to see if it was broken, but it was only bloody. He snorted and spat blood to one side. She took a stance and felt some pain in her ankle, probably from her last fall while Naruto was holding it. Continue, Shin said in the same stiff voice. Hey Naruto, come on. You're not going to let a girl beat you, right? Sakura teased. They both attacked, Naruto and Sakura. A short time later, an Anbu patrol stopped nearby and searched a building before moving on to the next and so on down the block. About an hour after they left, a long line of rice-sized bugs marched down the grate. When Yugo got home that night, she made it a point to visit Hiro. When she got there, she saw Hiro talking to Kakashi. When she walked in, both men stopped talking. Don't stop on my account, boys, she told them. We're all on the same side here. He smiled and waved Yugo over. I was just telling Kakashi about the break-in I had last night, he said. He just got back from a long mission. Yes, Yugo said with a laugh. I heard a pair of desperate criminals. Hiro said, I heard they got into Uzumaki's apartment by sneaking past 2 teams of genin and Anbu seals on every door and window. That boy is as good as the gang said. Kakashi, how the hell did he not pass the academy? Kakashi replied, the exit exam isn't designed for someone with so much chakra that they overload a simple clone, and some people made sure he wouldn't pass on his own. Since then, I've peeked in on him a few times. With the right training, he was sure to pass, but now I'm not sure what will happen. Don't forget Pinky either. Kakashi, Yugo growled. You already let her down. She got better almost as quickly as Uzumaki did when she got good training. All she needed was a serious dose of reality. Potential is written all over both of them. Kakashi was shocked and asked, "Are you sure?" Yugo smiled and said, "Totally serious. This is something that I think Inu needs to talk to the primary about right away. Also, no being late." Kakashi narrowed his one eye and said, "She's taking this very seriously if she brings that up. Even though Hiro is part of the gang, bringing it up like that is dangerous." It was just a whisper, but Kakashi said, "I'll let him know about it." The one-eyed Jonin left with a sad face. He wasn't in on the Hokage's plans, was he? Hiro asked after a short pause. Not at all. Sarutobi-sama had planned to make Kakashi, Pinky, and the Uchiha the Kid's Jonin sensei. He thought that a group that was a lot like his own genin squad might be able to get the scarecrow out of his bad mood. The man is brilliant when he's on duty, but he's crazy when he's not. What we found after the kid failed and everything that was dug up with Root made the Hokage think he should focus on getting Root out of there before something bad happened in Konoha. I also heard the Uchiha is not fitting in too well with his current team, Hiro said. That's not nearly enough, Hiro. The kid is making more trouble than Uzumaki's jokes did. I've heard babies who are teething whine less than that crazy singer. They're messing up D ranks because that team doesn't work together. That kid needs to be hit on the behind by someone his own age. It's only because the Hokage wanted a quiet couple of weeks and sent them on a snipe hunt for bandits near the border with Wind Country that they even have a C rank and can take the exams in a few weeks. Hiro laughed so hard that Yugo said he would hit him. Even with Naruto's help, Sakura could barely stand as they were led to the showers. She didn't care that Naruto was right behind her as she took off her jumpsuit to wash. She just looked down at her body and saw bruises already forming. She could have taken it easier, but she knew she had to do what she had to do. The taunts she had used to get Naruto to fight hard had hurt her physically once he got going. She put her hands on the wall and let the water fall on her head. Naruto only looked at Sakura to make sure she wasn't going to pass out. The bruises on her legs and back hurt him, but seeing her naked didn't make him move. All he could think about was how bad he felt about beating his only friend so badly. His own bruises were going away, as they always did, and in about an hour he would be fine, like he had never fought. Sakura-chan, I'm sorry, he said softly. Shadow, don't worry about it. I've hit you enough in the past. It's called karma, right? Besides, we're still on duty, she said in a quiet voice. Remember that there's no time for friends on duty? I don't think they're going to let us be off duty anymore, Sakura-chan, Naruto said as he looked at the tile opposite him. Sakura just nodded and didn't say anything. When Kakashi walked in, Sarutobi glared at him from across his desk. He was just about to leave the office when Kakashi showed up. Kat told Hokage-sama that Inu should talk to the primary, Kakashi said with a sorry tone. Sarutobi sat down and slowly shook his head. So much for a quiet evening to rest while other people make the necessary plans, he said. He wasn't in the mood to deal with Kakashi right now, but the Jonin would be useful in a few days. I'm not sure if I can trust Inu right now, Kakashi. I need someone who is not burned out, he said in a slow, thought-out voice. When the Hokage spoke, Kakashi's eye got bigger. Sir, No. Just listen, I wanted you to be a Jonin sensei to a team that even you would not turn down if you took the time to look underneath the underneath, as you like to say. Haruno, Uchiha, and Uzumaki were my original choices for your team. That was a deliberate choice on my part to help you. They would have been a mirror of Team Minato before your incident. Other circumstances forced me to change that decision. When the Hokage spoke, Kakashi seemed to pull in on himself. He thought about what the leader had said and saw how Naruto was like Obito, Sakura was like Rin, and Sasuke was like Kakashi. In order for him to feel better about himself, the Hokage wanted him to not let his team down this time. But he failed the team he was put on because he wasn't looking ahead, only backwards. Without Naruto, he hadn't seen how they were alike. So you understand a little now, Kakashi. Instead, something even I had not planned on has come about. While Inu's back was turned on Naruto, Danzo's minions were slowly poisoning his chances and making him an outcast, while he was under Inu's protection. Sarutobi said loudly. His father would be disappointed in you, Kakashi. Kakashi didn't answer the charge because he knew it was true. Right now, Naruto and Sakura are in the hands of Danzo and his root. They are the bait to lead us to the nest of that traitor. By tomorrow evening, everything should be in place to rip it out completely. I have a special assignment for Inu to redeem himself, Kakashi. Kakashi raised his head. During the raid, Inu's assignment will be to rescue and bring out his students, Haruno Sakura and Uzumaki Naruto. She thought she had just laid down when Shin told her to get up when her cell door opened. It was worse the second day of physical training than the first. She was in a lot of pain from her bruises and could hardly move. It was hard for her to get up and do what the boy with gray hair said. A rough hand slid into hers. As she raised her head, she saw Naruto helping her stand up. As they walked after Shin, she stretched a little. Today, there was another person in the small eating area. He was a boy with dark hair and pale white skin. He didn't seem to have spent much time in the sun. He didn't say anything when he looked up from his bowl of something, before coming back with 2 bowls of something brown. Naruto pushed Sakura into a chair and went up to the serving area. He gave Sakura one and a spoon. She couldn't even think of the goop as food after a few meals like this. There was nothing in it to give it taste. The only thing that was different was that each time the color was a little different. In contrast, the tofu tasted good. She began shoving it into her mouth even though she was sick of it. She was too hungry to wait. It never seemed like the food she ate would fill her up. She was worn out. She tried to forget about her bruises and sore muscles. This was her 3rd time getting sleep since she got here. It didn't look like any of them were for very long. It was easy for her to just do what she was told. It hurt more than it did during remedial PT and further chakra training. She wasn't able to fight back when they started to do something to her. Naruto watched Sakura eat in a very robotic way. Her eyes showed that she was tired, and he wasn't much better. He was hungry. Even though he was tired, he seemed to find the strength to keep going. He wasn't getting better or worse. He was staying at the same low point. Shin never looked at them. But Naruto did notice that the teen with gray hair would keep working on Naruto even when Sakura couldn't. Shin made the girl stand at attention while Naruto kept working out when she couldn't go on. Root was making them break. After everyone ate, Shin told them and the boy with dark hair to follow. When it got late in the afternoon, Sarutobi called all of his advisors and the leaders of the clans together. His Anbu had to do the work, so he had to be a distraction on his own. The Chunin exams coming up were a good reason to get them all together. The tower didn't have nearly as many people in it today. It had been sick morning, and it was sick afternoon, with more people getting sick. This meeting was set to take place in room 301 of the academy, which was also where the first test would be given. Anbu sneaked into the tower after Sarutobi left and took about 20 people away without being seen. Kakashi took off his old mask. It almost made fun of him with the dog face on it. His mind was on something else when he wore that shirt, even though it looked like it was on guard. It used to be that Inu had a good reputation. Now he had a chance to get it back in the future. He only had to reach out and take it. The mask went on easily. The people that Hiro led got together. Everyone who was physically able would keep an eye on the known tunnel exits that Root liked to use. The blue aardvark knew more than it told. You could find them all over Konoha. Even though they were retired, they never really stopped being who they were. Small pieces of information were always sent back and forth between them, and the whole thing was then sent to active duty US Army members. Root had been a pain for them ever since it was officially broken up but never really went away. It would now be pulled out like a weed. Sasuke and Naruto both looked at the boy with dark hair. Between the two of them, he had beaten them both pretty badly so far. He wasn't sure, but Shin had said this guy was just another trainee, so he had to be at least Chunin level. While he put the pink-haired girl's finger back in place, the blonde helped her stand up. He spoke to her under his breath. Okay, I think I have a plan to get this guy at least once. Shin said it is a spar, right? But he never said anything about rules. We're using our best stuff on this guy and not getting anywhere separately. We need to work this together. After sparring today, Sakura's swollen eye made it hard for her to open one eye. She was ready to do anything to get a few shots in at this point. What are we doing? When you see me make a ram seal, close your eyes and wait for the flash. Then you take out his ability to breathe. I'm gonna beat on Shin too if he falls for it, said Naruto. Sakura gave Naruto a nod and walked to his left. Naruto charged at the boy with dark hair again, but this time he stopped about 3 steps away, focused his chakra, and made a ram seal. As Sakura came up behind, she was ready for it. Naruto made a chakra flash that was so bright that Sakura's eyes hurt even when they were closed. As she ran by and jumped at the teen with dark hair, the flash went out. She looked at him and saw that his hands were up by his face. She grinned fiercely and kicked him in the stomach with her side. What surprised her, though, was when the boy broke and ink sprayed her. Sakura was able to roll when the resistance to her kick went away. While writing on a scroll, the boy with dark hair made a noise off to the side. He then made a hand sign and a new rose clone. Damn it, Naruto said to himself. He is 1 step ahead of us, Naruto said. At that point, he really wanted some weapons. He was sick of everything here. He was ready to sleep. He was hungry for ramen. It got old for him to play to these traitors. Shin yelled, enough. It is time to stop for now. Sakura, let me see your hand. Shin waved his hand, and as he touched Sakura's finger, his hand lit up green. She said, some minor damage to a couple of ligaments. Hold still. Shin focused and put his palm over the hurt area. Naruto said, you can heal, but you let Sakura-chan be in pain from all kinds of bruising for days now. What about her eye? Even though Shin looked at Naruto, his face didn't change. Healing simple bruising is a poor use of limited healing ability. The bruising reminds her that she should improve in her taijutsu ability. However, in the case of her finger, she would be limited should the damage heal incorrectly. Waiting 2 weeks for that to occur would be a waste of valuable resources. In this case, it makes sense to provide healing for that area. Naruto let out a grumpy noise. He had no idea why he was so mad about everything that had happened the past day. He didn't deal with Shin. Instead, he looked at boys with dark hair. Do you have a name? Heck, can you even speak? Shin looked at the boy with dark hair and gave a short nod. He was still looking at Sakura's finger. There was no name given to him. I have no assigned name at this time, Naruto said. I can't get your attention with a, hey you. I'll call you Gashi, artist, since you draw stuff for jutsu. Shin was done healing Sakura's finger and turned away. Follow, he told them. While he was with the clan elders and his advisors, Sarutobi was talking about the upcoming Chunin exam. He always liked hearing what other people had to say and thought about what they said when he made decisions. He agreed that it would be good for Konoha to let as many teams of genin as possible take part in the upcoming exams. If Konoha only let the elites take it, like on foreign exams, they would never be able to find hidden diamonds in the rough. Some of the more important clans didn't like the idea, but they knew that in the long run, a strong Konoha would make them look better. A noise like a body falling from outside the room cut short the meeting. The Anbu at the door came to warn, but the ninja who walked in was already known to him. The Anbu officer who walked in bowed to Sarutobi and said, I'm sorry, Hokage-sama. A spy who was listening in on this meeting was just killed. Everything is safe. Sato replied, good, dear, send out the alert. People in the meeting frowned when they heard about the spy, but Sarutobi raised his hand to calm them down. Is that right, Danzo? We should always be on the lookout for spies and other people who want to hurt the Konoha that we all love. It was agreed by the old, crippled advisor. Konoha must always be protected, Hokage-sama. Sarutobi made his face look tougher and looked straight at Danzo. I take it that your failure at disbanding Root when ordered was your way of protecting Konoha, Danzo. What are you talking about, Hokage-sama? Danzo asked Sarutobi with one narrowed eye. Root was stopped after the last war on your orders. It no longer exists. The time for games is over, Danzo. The spy the Anbu just eliminated was your man. The same man that has followed you to every meeting in the tower for the past year. Your spies working in the tower administration have been apprehended. Your facility is being raided as we speak. If you truly love Konoha, surrender and take your punishment. There was a glare between Danzo and Sarutobi. What kind of lies have been filtering into your senile old mind, Sarutobi? He asked again. No lies, Danzo. Just that time has come to put an end to your plans to turn Konoha into an aggressive power. To make sure that our children and grandchildren can have a chance to live in peace, said Sarutobi. Danzo said, peace, Faye. The only way to live in peace is to be the strongest power in the world. You are letting Konoha grow weak with your soft ways. Letting ninja retire, instead of using them as the weapons they are. You talk of peace and allow lesser villages to grow strong. You allow enemy ninja to live and allow bandits to be turned over to daimyos for trial instead of executing them as you should. That is the law the daimyo set forth and Konoha will obey it. We serve him, not the other way around. As far as my so-called softness, people should not live in fear of their rulers. Ninja who follow through loyalty will always be better than those that follow through fear. You never understood that love of family and friends makes a Konoha ninja strong and willing to do the hard things. To make the hard choices. Every Hokage has known this and done so, and now I have to as well. He laughed and asked, what do you mean by a hard choice? A good arm was taken away from Danzo by an Anbu Tanto, cutting off his question. From Danzo's kimono, a hidden kunai fell to the ground. Before the Anbu covered the wound, blood flew all over the people who were there. The choice of whether to let you live or not, Sarutobi said in a low voice. The hawk in the sky over Konoha sent the message it had been taught to send. Teams sprang into action in different parts of Konoha. Single genin went into shops in different parts of the village. That the business owner please come with them, they asked. The Hokage had some questions for them about how they ran their business. A genin led a group of chunin into the quartermaster. They arrested a certain man. After they left, another man tried to sneak out the back door but was caught by Anbu on the same charge. When Anbu threw open the hidden doors to the root warren, they ran into the lair. More than a dozen Anbu were killed or hurt when the portals were forced open, which set off traps inside. The Anbu that were killed either turned into mud or water, or they just disappeared into chakra smoke. The second group came into the lair. Each group had a member of the Aburame clan with them who helped them find their way past false paths and dead ends. The alert went off after a few seconds, but it did what it was supposed to do. More masked ninjas came through the passage to stop the invaders, but they got into a short fight. Because the passages were so small, the Anbu could only fight kunai hand to hand, but that didn't stop the root ninja. One rushed forward to fight and block one team, while his friend used a fire jutsu to follow him. It looks like both the root ninja and the Anbu team died. The person with the jutsu ran away from the bodies on fire to wait for another group and attack them. In another part, the shouts of the dying team could be heard again. The Aburame in this group stopped and pointed to a place in a dark corner. A lot of thrown kunai hit the shadow before one root ninja fell out of it. After stopping the ambush, the Aburame waved the team forward. When the alarm went off, both Naruto and Sakura stopped what they were eating and looked up. Naruto had given Shin and the boy with dark hair the name Gashi. They both looked around before Shin stood up. He told them to follow him as he walked out of the room. Gashi followed right away, and Sakura looked at Naruto. Naruto shrugged and stood up to follow. The spies caught up with the root agents outside the door. Shin listened and looked both ways before going down a hallway that Naruto and Sakura had never been down before. Naruto whispered, "What's going on?" Shin was right back at him with the kunai drawn and aimed at Naruto's neck. "If you speak again, you will die. Nod if you understand," he said loudly. Naruto said, "Yes," and he could feel the kunai leaving his throat. Shin told them again, "Follow," and they quickly left, with the other three following. Inu couldn't wait for his team to get deeper into the root labyrinth. He put his faith in Shibi's clansmen and followed the guide. Whenever the group went through a certain area, their leader would call his bugs back into his body. The Chunin finally showed them a room that looked like a shower. A brain wouldn't go into the shower room. This is where the primary scent trail leads to. A lesser scent trail leaves the room. Logic says it would be their gear. The scent does not leave the room otherwise. Kakashi walked into the room in silence and opened one tap lightly. Something smelled that was hard to pick out was mixed in with the water. He said yes. This was a way to stay away from the Aburame destruction bugs. He turned off the water and cut his thumb on a knot. After 5 hand signs, there were a few ninja hounds in the room. Yo, a pug said. This place stinks. I know, Pakun. I need your noses. We need to find a pair of kids down here. They're doused in whatever scent this room is putting on them. The dogs all sniffed around the room and headed out the door. They growled and yipped at each other as they cast about for the most current scent. Finally Pakun spoke to Kakashi. The most recent one is here. They keep going down the same paths. Kakashi smiled and turned to the Aburame. Let's go with the squad and follow the scent trail your bug left behind. That probably needs to be some kind of equipment room. Protect that and get back anything that belongs to the targets. The group with Kakashi nodded and ran down a different hall. Kakashi turned and followed his dogs deeper into the maze. They quickly found a training room and then an eating area with several half-eaten bowls of something green. The dogs all avoided the bowls. The newest trail led out a different doorway, and Kakashi quickly followed it to find the missing teens. Shin, Gashi, and Sakura were being pushed along by Naruto as he stumbled after them. They could hear voices and fights in the hallways around them, but Naruto didn't know his way around. Something bad was going on. They came across a body wearing a mask but not normal Anbu clothes. Naruto thought, he must be a Root member. A hurt Anbu agent came out of a side tunnel and started fighting Naruto. The agent dropped a small gas pellet, which caused a cloud to form around Naruto and Sakura. The blonde could only grab onto the agent in response and try not to fall to the ground. Sakura leaned against the wall for a moment before she attacked. Her leg went up between her enemy's legs at full force. There was a grunt, and the agent stopped attacking Naruto. A second kick did the trick, and he let go of Naruto. The blonde then grabbed the man by the head and held it while he hit the mask of the Anbu with his knee, which he thought was the chin. The mask broke under the force of the blow, and the agent fell to the ground stunned. Okay, that wasn't a good idea to do that. It just looked so cool in the movies that I thought it was a real move. Those masks are hard, he thought as he stumbled away from the dead man and ran after Shin and Gashi. The whole fight had happened in less than 10 seconds, and neither of them had thought about it. They had just reacted. Shin took them further into the tunnels. 4 ninja jumped out of the ground and into the alley. The masked Root ninja quickly took off their masks and armor so they could look like any other ninja and clear the area to safety. The 3 men and 1 woman then quietly started to walk toward the market, but a fireball forced them back into the alley. A group of blue masked ninja in blue robes stood on the eaves above them and said, "Surrender, Root ninja. You can't get away," someone said in a strong voice. The woman took out a bunch of kunai with exploding tags and activated them all at once. But before she could throw them, she was hit by 6 of them herself. The activated tags fell to the ground and exploded, doing a lot of damage to the buildings on both sides of the alley. The 4 Root ninja died, and the blue masked ninja jumped down to help the hurt civilians. A Jonin was leading what looked like a group of Chunin out of one gate of Konoha when a swarm of bugs landed on them and drained their chakra. The gate guards were shocked and went to help the group, but an Anbu told them to wait because they are spies. The guards were scared, and one of them stuttered, but their papers were real. The Anbu only gave a nod and said, the papers were probably real. People, on the other hand, were not. Put them in chains and don't let them go. Soon, someone will come get them. The Anbu went back to hiding, and the bugs went back into the trees. In the market district, there was another loud explosion. The ground under a store collapsed, destroying its hidden supports. Several ninja jumped out of the hole and ran away through screaming civilians, past 2 injured people who were being cared for by a teammate who was also bandaging his own wound. The moving wounded Anbu told the healthy team members to go after the enemy, but they could only catch 2 of the escaping enemy. They split up and went after them. As Pakun led the way, fear started to spread along the trail. He saw a hurt Anbu struggling to get up. He stopped to help the man, and the agent gasped, "I saw the blonde and pink-haired kids down here. I tried to gas them, but they caught me off guard when they smelled it. Be careful of her kicks, she has great aim." "How long ago?" asked Inu. "Not even 2 minutes ago," the man coughed out loud. Kakashi kept going with his plan, but he had a moment of doubt. Had the teens switched sides and joined Root? A single Root ninja crawled out of the tunnels and looked around without making any facial expressions. Danzo-sama must have died trying to bring Konoha to glory. The man took off all of his clothes and doused himself with what looked like water. He scrubbed his hair hard, and a small bug fell out of the short strands. He dried off and put on normal clothes. The young merchant would go back to his store and blend back in with the people. He was walking down the street when two men in blue robes stopped him. The root man didn't notice the senbon that hit him in the neck because he was so lost in thought. As the masked special forces walked down a hallway with locked rooms, panicked voices came from inside. They peered into the rooms and found 12 kids, ages 5 to 10, who had been locked up. The older kids seemed much calmer than the younger ones, which suggested they had been through some kind of emotional training. As they locked up the equipment room, the group that was with Kakashi only had to deal with one person. An Aburame destruction bug crawled out of Naruto's weapons pouch and landed on the Aburame Chunin, resting on the man's shoulder and taking in chakra. The man knew it wasn't one of his own bugs, but he let it eat. He then released his own bugs into the room, and they quickly found the target's personal items. The group took them, left, and locked the room behind them. She had just reacted when the man in the mask attacked Naruto, and she held on to the blonde as he led the girl with pink hair through the tunnels. She was completely worn out and all she wanted to do was eat, sleep, and stop being in pain. She finally closed her eyes and let herself go. Suddenly, Naruto had to carry his friend's whole weight. He stopped and picked her up in his arms. Shin and Gashi stopped in front of him as well. "Leave her," Shin told them. "The mission comes first. Our job is to get away." Naruto looked at the teen with gray hair and said, "Not without Sakura-chan." Shin walked up to him and said, "If you slow down, the Anbu will catch you. You will be put to death for killing a Konoha ninja," he said in a monotone. Naruto stepped back every time Shin moved forward. He was tired and could barely hold up Sakura. He didn't have any weapons and had no idea where he was under Konoha. His anger kept growing, and he finally decided to scold his boss. It was the first time Shin could remember that worry crept into his mind. Naruto's eyes changed slightly as the blonde stood up straighter. They went from blue to red as he spoke in a mean voice. "I'm not going to leave my friend behind. I will die to protect her if I have to. I hate your mission and I hate you. As a member of Konohakagure no Sato, I promise that I will not leave my friends behind like trash." "Well said, Naruto," a voice said from behind him. "Please move out of the way so I can deal with these rude traitors." As soon as Naruto heard the voice, he lost his concentration. When he turned his head to look, Shin charged at him with a kunai, ready to strike. Naruto turned around to put his back against the blade and protect Sakura, but Shin was attacked from behind by a pug. Naruto fell to the ground as Kakashi slid past him. Shin couldn't defend himself because Pakun was on his arm. Kakashi stabbed the gray-haired boy in each shoulder and then kicked the teen out from under him. Shin fell and got hit in the temple before he could even hit the ground. Kakashi then faced Gashi. The dark-haired boy had only stood there while Kakashi and Shin fought. Kakashi told him, "Give up, and you'll be able to live." Gashi looked at Kakashi and then at Shin as if he needed instructions. Kakashi took charge by closing the gap and knocking out the teen who wasn't trying to fight. He then got some wire and tied both root ninja together. Naruto used light shaking to try to wake Sakura up, but she was still breathing, so he wasn't too worried. He was tired and wanted to collapse even more. He put Sakura on the ground and stood up slowly as he felt weaker. Kakashi turned around and saw the blonde boy taking care of his friend. "Naruto, it's time to go," he said. "It's time for you to go home." Naruto blinked and narrowed his eyes to clear his vision. He kept trying to remember that he had seen this Anbu before. "Inu? You used to carry me home. A long time ago, I used to get lost in Konoha all the time. So you do remember that, Naruto," the dog-masked Kakashi said with a nod. "Okay. For your safety, the Hokage asked me to get you two out of here. So where are we going now, Inu?" Naruto asked slowly as he closed his eyes. "Head back into the light, Naruto," Kakashi told the blonde as he picked him up from the ground. "All three of us." Naruto woke up quickly and sat up in his hospital bed. He looked from side to side and focused on the flash of pink he saw in the bed next to him. Sakura was sleeping there. He felt better than he had in weeks. His stomach hurt a little, but other than that, he was fine. He wasn't even mad anymore. As he looked around the room, He took off the wires that were taped to his head and chest. He was startled when the door quietly opened and a nurse with a smile walked in. Before the door shut, he saw a guard outside the room. The nurse stopped at the foot of the bed. "You're awake a lot sooner than expected, Uzumaki-san," she noted. "With what you went through the past week, we thought you would be out at least another day." "What do you mean?" Naruto asked her with a wary look. "Where am I?" "In the hospital, of course," she replied with a smile. "You and Haruno-san were in bad shape when the Enbu brought you in. As soon as you wake up, please excuse me. I need to let Hokage-sama know." No idea what to say, Naruto said. Yeah, sure." Naruto laid down to think. The last few days were fuzzy in his memory. They were like a dream. He remembered Shin, Gashi, the tunnels, and finally Inu. He felt bad about hurting Sakura during the sparring again. He sat there in silence as the time went by. He was so full of energy that it took all the self-control he had learned in the past 6 months to keep him from getting up and running around. The door opened again, and the Hokage, an old man, walked in. The boy felt like the smile on his face was like a warm sun after a cold winter day. "Hey, old man," he said briefly. "I'm glad you're getting better so quickly, Naruto," the Hokage said as he stood at the foot of his bed and smiled. "It looks like Sakura is also getting along better. We were scared when you both came in. You both had chakras that were too tired to work." "Please tell me, Sir Old Man, how long have we been here?" Naruto asked him. 2 days already. It went well to destroy Root. We took their base, most of their important people, and their ninja. We would never have found it in that maze they made down there without you taking us to their headquarters. There are still teams down there making plans for the gaps before we fill them in. I think we can say that your mission is over." "Most?" Naruto thought about it. He smiled and said, "I had Aburame Shibi put some of his clan's destruction bugs on each of you. Once you got to the base, some of you left and went back down the back trail. They found ways to get past the defenses Root had set up to stop them. Then more went into the base and marked everyone who was there. This let us catch some that were there but had left. I think some Root members got away because they didn't go to the base when the bugs were spreading to everyone." "Bugs?" Sakura said in a soft voice, "Help me understand." "Hi Sakura-chan. You're awake," yelled a happy Naruto. "Yeah," she grumbled, "turn down the volume." It was clear that Sakura didn't like getting up early. Naruto ducked his head a little and said, "Sorry." This made the Hokage laugh. "As I said, you two brought the Aburame bugs into the base and sent some back to the main colony as guides. They got into the Root Warren and became attached to everyone there. We were able to find a number of them who had already left by the time of our raid." He smiled and asked, "So we did well, old man?" She hit him in the head with a pillow and told him, "Naruto, show the Hokage some respect." For a minute, the teens just looked at each other funny. Then Sarutobi came in and laughed. "Okay. There are some bad things that need to be fixed right away." Naruto and Sakura both stopped and looked at their leader. "To begin, the doctor who was taking care of you both had to pump your stomachs and, for lack of a better phrase, clean out your insides to get rid of whatever Root had been feeding you both. It had a chakra-blocking substance and some drugs in it that we haven't fully analyzed yet. You should both stay in the hospital for a few more days to make sure they're completely gone." Sarutobi looked at Sakura and said, "Young lady, you need a few more days to heal before all of your bruises are gone. I hope you can tell me why you're getting hit so hard." Naruto felt bad about himself and hung his head. "It was me, sir," he said in a low voice. "They were training us by making us spar full contact. They would have killed us if we didn't stop. My cuts and scrapes got better faster than Sakura-chan's." Sarutobi smiled and nodded. "I am not pleased that you both had to go through that, but I can understand the need for you doing what needed to be done." He smiled and said, "Old man, just watch out for those kicks of hers if you ever spar with her. She treats them badly." Sarutobi nodded, and this time Sakura turned pink. "Now let's deal with the real problem. A lot of false information was spread about both of you on purpose while you were on your mission. Many people heard the rumor that you both attacked the 2 instructors, and many don't think it was false. Naruto, many people added that to your bad reputation." Naruto gave a solemn nod. No matter what happens, you will both have trouble with some groups of civilians for a while after this. The ninjas of Konoha were told that you both were given the blame because I told them to, even though neither of you did the actual crime. It was also said that an enemy force was being built up inside Konoha and that you two were being used as bait to find it. Unfortunately, that could make a few other genin trust you less for a while as well. That's something I thought you should both know right away in case it comes up before you leave the hospital. She sighed when she heard that. The rest of the business will be taken care of when you both leave. Now that you're both awake, I think you both deserve some guests. Naruto said, many people have been looking forward to seeing you both. The old leader opened the door and held out his hand to some people outside. I was so worried about you, sweetheart, Sakura's mother told her as she hugged the teen. The Hokage told me that you were on a secret mission when you ran off like that. The rumors were very bad. Though he told me they were all lies and a cover story, I was still scared. After that, Naruto just sat there and watched the red-haired woman talk non-stop to Sakura. Then he saw a stranger walk in. The girl Iruka said, "Hi Naruto." As Iruka hit Naruto on the head as a joke, Naruto smiled. The two of them then talked about lately events. 2 days later, Naruto and Sakura were let out of the hospital. The Anbu had returned the clothes they had found in the root equipment room, but they had kept Naruto's other weapons and scrolls and given him a receipt to show that they would pick them up later. The Anbu agents' normal behavior was different toward them, and it seemed like they respected them. They also got a letter from Hiro inviting them to come by and get some spares if they needed them, at a discount, of course. Team 10 had come to see them, but it was mostly students from their remedial class. Since they were never popular there, it didn't bother them. One time, Ayame brought them ramen, and when the waitress kissed Naruto on the cheek, Sakura felt strangely upset. When they were freed, they were taken to the Hokage Tower. Naruto noticed some angry looks and some smiles directed at him. Sakura wasn't ready for the angry looks, but she tried not to let them bother her. The training they had together over the past few months had helped her keep a calm face even when she was upset inside. The days of going around without being seen in their military clothes were over. One set of eyes was fixed on the group that was walking by. The thought behind them was evil, but the face never changed. After a short wait, they were standing in front of the Hokage. The old leader stood and walked around his desk, then held out a new metal ninja headband to each of them. The teens smiled and took them, quickly putting them on their foreheads and bowing to their Hokage. They were told to sit down on the couch by Sarutobi, who was sitting in a chair next to it. Now I have a lot to tell you both and some choices to make. The first question is what to do with both of you. I already put you both with a Jonin sensei, but 6 other people have asked me to think about them for the job. Kat and Hiro, the man from the clothing store, are the ones asking. Those 2 people are the biggest surprises because neither of them has ever shown any interest in becoming a teacher. But I'm going to stick with the choice I made when I was putting together teams 7 months ago. As the Hokage went on, Sakura's eyes got a little smaller. I'm going to put you both with Hitaki Kakashi. I'm sorry he let you down, Sakura, but that team wasn't the one I had planned. Naruto was supposed to be on your team with Uchiha Sasuke, you won't believe it. The third person on your team will depend on how the Chunin exams go in 2 weeks. My main concern right now is where to place you. The elite program is where I would normally place both of you, but your mission has left you both with some negative publicity that many daimyos try to avoid when hiring elites. Also, by the same token, neither of you would fit well into the standard military program. You both are showing potential well above that skill level. We need to find a place for you, but the current organizational structure makes it difficult, so I needed to find something outside the current structure. After much thought, I decided to keep doing what I asked of both of you once already. I have decided you will be part of a team that answers directly to the Hokage, much like a junior version of Anbu. Officially, you will be counted among the elites, but your mission assignments will be less public and more military or black ops related ones. You will not be getting those ghastly public relations D-rank missions the rest of the elites get as genin. You would be getting more escort-style missions. You will likely be placed into situations that fall into the gray area when a normal elite team might not be the best choice and an Anbu team would be overkill. A shadow elite. He turned his attention to Sakura and then back to the Hokage. What about our future, old man? People are all talking about the Chunin exams and how that is the best way for a genin to advance in rank. If we are not a part of that, how will we get promoted? The boy got a smile from Sarutobi. Your promotion to Chunin would be decided by me alone when you warrant it. You both have the right attitude but lack the practical experience right now. Kat will also be checking up on your training as it progresses. She will also help it along in some areas, especially with Sakura. Naruto looked pleased, and Sakura thought for a moment before speaking. Sir, about Kakashi-san. Will he be like he was that time as my Jonin instructor? I mean, he was 3 hours late that one time I took his test. I don't know if that was part of it, but I remember in the academy, Uruka-sensei was saying that being on time was a part of being a ninja. Sarutobi said, he will be on time for anything team-related. Sakura. He has had a few problems in his past that he is still dealing with, but I have stressed to him that he will not be having his lateness tolerated. Naruto asked, will it be just the three of us then? That will depend on the Chunin exams, the Hokage told Naruto. It depends on how the last potential member does during it.
I will continue this story in next part. Till then, we weeb offline.